it can be different. A lot of our shooters want to go off the bounce, so I think that's a good thing, being able to get to the hole and get to the free throw line, because that's what coach wants from us.
And how do you factor in there? Because you're obviously a little different player than Morgan. You've got a little bit more size, so it's maybe easier for you to take players and get into the lane, even though there's going to be a size differential there too. But how is it different for you? You know, leading it and figuring out what are my spots, what are my good shots, when do I take them?
Whenever I get into the paint, coach thinks that's a good shot for me, so he wants me to take the shot if I'm in the paint, so that's what I do.
Jazz is shooting 50% right now from the floor, and you know she's got a high-rising jump shot. She's got a legitimate jump shot, and I think her range is getting better and better every day. But certainly we're comfortable with her 16, 17 feet and in, and you know she continues to work on stretching that. But she's hard to get to. She's got some size to her, and she's certainly quick and athletic, and but she can really jump up over some people and score the ball. That's why I played her at Tucson. You know, I think that gives us a real unique lineup when I can play her at 2 and do some other things at point guard with Maya, or even roll Jordan in there. I wanted to keep Andy on the floor now that Andy's obviously in the middle of the mix shooting the ball. So we've got kids that can shoot. You know, Chloe's shooting 52% right now from 3. Andy's shooting 40. The shots they're getting are going to be the same shots they're going to get in January and February, and that's what I like about them. They're getting shots within the offense. They're getting shots on the break. Jazz is finding them. Jazz has a real knack of finding people in transition. Those shooters, especially, you know, Blair would tell you she knew where I was going to be on that left side, in the corner every time on the break. And Jazz has a real understanding of that with our kids. So she's always looking. That slice pass is a really hard pass to guard from one side of the court to the other. It's a hard pass to defend, and it's hard to go out and get those kids. And when you got kids out there that can shoot it like Andy and Chloe, it's a real advantage. So I'm really encouraged and excited about what we're doing on the perimeter right now, shooting the ball.
Is that surprising given the amount of experience and the quality of the depth that you had at that position or that area last year?
You know, I mean, both those kids are shooters. You know, Chloe and Andy can both really shoot it, and right now they're obviously shooting it at a very good clip. So I think they've both proven in the time they've been here. Chloe now going her 2nd year, Andy since she's been here, that they're comfortable shooting it out there. They got a lot of confidence shooting it out there. And I know Jazz has a lot of confidence getting on the ball out there.
Jazz had the chance to work underneath some veteran point guards, and now she's pretty seasoned. Where do you feel like Maya is working behind her? She got to work behind Jordan too last year. Where do you feel like she is after redshirt and then after the first few games?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Maya's probably about where Jazz was her freshman year. You know, it's really understanding your role as a point guard on a team that's got a lot of options. You know, Jazz in high school, she averaged 20-something points a game. Maya's no different. Morgan was no different. But the thing that Jazz had a chance to, all throughout her career, to play with other really good players. You know, I did not hesitate putting Jazz in a game from the time she was a sophomore on in some pretty big moments. And so she's got that experience. Maya's probably about where Jazz was in her freshman year, and Jazz would tell you that freshman year was, you know, up and down, you know, and it's based off of taking care of the ball. You've got to learn to take care of the basketball. And, you know, that assist to turnover ratio right now that Jazz has 4-to-1, that's where it needs to be. We're going to be an elite team. Our point guards have got to take care of the ball. And so I think our young kids, all of them, you know, Chloe's 2nd on the team in turnovers. She knows she can't be turning the ball over like that. Jordan's got the 2nd best assist to turnover ratio on the team right now, 2.5-to-1, you know. And so Chloe can't turn it over. You know, Zari and Andy are both learning, man, we cannot turn the ball. That is one thing that's going to get us in hot water. Jazz knew that as a freshman. You can't go out there and turn that thing. I can't, right now, we've got to learn to value the basketball because, as y'all know, we've got some games coming up, and tomorrow night will be no different, but we've got some games coming up where we just can't sit there and play through your mistakes. At some point, we got to do something else. And so our kids have got to learn, they've got to learn to practice, and then when they get into games, that you got to take care of the ball. It's really, we're turning the ball over way more than we have in the past right now. And my concern is, how we're doing it. Really just being lackadaisical with the ball.
And the point guards already know what kind of importance that you and all of your coaches put on that position. Would you like to necessarily see her be more demonstrative, or to try to instruct her teammates, if they make a turnover, that's not where you need to throw it, you need to settle down a little bit more, because she's doing such a good job of valuing the basketball, maybe convey that to the other kids?
I think that's our job as coaches. I think Jazz can certainly, I think her job's probably be the good cop. Let me be the bad cop. She needs to be the good cop. Hey, come on, take care of the ball. We'll get it next time. But I think you got to be careful with her and me, being getting on. And so I think that's where we can really ham and egg it pretty well together. And she knows I'm going to be on her or anyone else that has lackadaisical, lack of focus turnovers. And at the same time, you got to get them ready for the next play, and you got to move on. So, and I think, again, Jazz has learned to do that as well as anybody. So our job is continuing practice. We start off with practice today with triangle passing. We start that with a lot. We start that a lot in practice, and you get them get the feel right away who's locked in and who's out there throwing the ball flat-footed and the ball over your head. That's not good.
And triangle passing is where you have somebody necessarily maybe up at the top of the key or mid-court, and then in the corners.
We usually have corner, wing, and top of the key. We work on one side of the floor.
Right.
Then we flip sides and do it on the other side. Defense is 60–70% on the post, and we just try to contest the passer.
All right, any other questions? All right, you guys.
All right, thank you, Lord. Go Dogs. Thank you all.
Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.